Emma the bad guy for not letting my apartment mate back inside after she got spat upon by a camel. This just happened and it's been super stressful, wondering if I made the right decision. I share an apartment with another woman and we've been decent enough acquaintances. I'm the primary tenant, but she's subleasing and the landlord is okay with that. Apparently, she walked out to this fair that had all sorts of attractions and animals. It was walking distance, about a mile away from our unit. I remember it being advertised but didn't go. Well, to put it plainly, she got spat on by a camel. She texted me shortly after it happened to warn me and that she was coming home. I thought, okay, what's the big deal? Come on. I saw her coming up the steps, looking miserable, through the window and went out to the porch to get her. And instantly I was hit with the most unbelievably wild smell I've had smelled from a good 20 feet away. I really couldn't take it. I got only a whiff and I could feel my stomach churning. I went back inside and closed the door. She came up and tried to get inside with her key, but I was practically begging her no. Whenever happened, you can't come in like that. She was yelling, "Why, I live here," and then was practically crying. She said her no one else to go. I said I'm sorry, but there is no way. I can let the smell in here. I could smell her through the door. I was gagging. I suggested that she find a hose or shower somewhere or jump in a creek or something, anything but coming in like that, but she was saying no store will let her in. But I felt warm. I held the door closed until she walked away. She came back an hour later soaking wet. Maybe she could jump in a creek and open the door. I couldn't just sit there, holding it shut all day. And the smell was maybe barely better but still horrific. She jumped straight into the shower. But I can still faintly smell it throughout the whole living room, and it's making me feel obviously sick. Now we are both furious at each other. I made the same come back in before the smell was gone, and now the whole place smells unbearable. She's furious that I dared to hold the door shut and keep her out, and is saying that she'll be talking to the landlord or the lawyer because that can be legal. But I don't know what else I could have done. This is dreadful. So, I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not the bad guy for kicking out my boyfriend's sister after she kept making offensive jokes about me. I told my boyfriend's sister that she's not welcome in our home anymore because of her constant criticism and insults towards me. I'm 20, female, and I live with my boyfriend in our apartment right now. It took him a while to introduce me to his family, but once he did it, he hit it off really good with his mom and his sister. Until the more we hang out, the more offensive jokes his sister will make me about my appearance. It's also important for me to know that I always found my boyfriend's relationship with his sister really weird. When we will all hang out, she will sit on his lap, play with his hair, and compliment him an unnatural amount. It felt like I was third wheeling sometimes, and it made me extremely uncomfortable. I never told my boyfriend because he would call me crazy. I told myself that other people have different dynamics with their siblings and share it off. I convinced myself it was normal. A couple nights ago, she came over with her friends so the four of us could play poker and hang out. It was going fine until she started making those jokes again and acting really pick-me with my boyfriend, which is so weird. They are related and it grossed me out. She made a random joke about there being some stuff on the floor because I couldn't bend over to clean because of my stomach fat. I managed to hold my tears, and when I saw that my boyfriend tried not to laugh at it. I'm not plus size, I'm 130 lb. An hour later, we were casually discussing life, and I told her and her friend that I went to college that some people consider lowbrow because of the easy acceptance rate. She told me that I shook her, and I asked what she mean. She literally said, because you're, and then pulled her eyes back. I'm Korean and I never thought I had a joke like that after high school. It enraged me. I stood up and told her and her friend to shut up and stop laughing. My boyfriend told me to calm down, but this made me angrier. I yelled at her and told her that she's been hurting my feelings the whole time I've known her and that it needs to stop. She looked at me like I was crazy and told me she was just kidding. Lighten up. I said it's not funny. If it's my expense. I screamed for them to get out because they kept making faces to each other acting like I was insane or something. She sort of cried a little and left while her friend comforted her. Later on I argued with my boyfriend because he said I went too far. We got over it and he's not mad at me anymore. But I'm still annoyed with him because he never stood up for me once. I found out through him that his sister and his mom have been talking bad about me. I'm so upset. I should have been the bigger person, but I let my emotions get the best of me. I feel like a huge bad guy. I feel like I overreacted and should have just kept my mouth shut. I understand why people are shitting on my boyfriends for her unfair behavior. I'm mad at him too. But I do want to make it clear that though he's often never on a specific side or has a strong option, he was very much being there for me. Whenever I complain about conflict or I'm upset about my trauma, he's always been there for me. That's exactly why this is hard for me. I'm sure most of you have been in a relationship, so you can understand how it's scary to leave someone that you value so much. By the way, he didn't laugh at the racist joke. His face actually indicated that he was offended too. He just didn't say anything. He only laughed at that joke. Still bad too. I'm gonna talk to him tonight even though I'm really scared. I will try to keep this updated. Additionally, can we stop shitting all over me? This just now blew up in my face and I'm trying to find out a way to deal with it. It had never been this bad previously. So what do you think? Am I the bad guy for not wanting to name my son what my dead husband wanted? My husband passed away about 4 months ago due to a car accident. I was pregnant at the time. We had a small gender reveal party and found out our baby was a little boy. Both me and my husband, along with our families, were super happy. We, like me and my husband, started thinking about what to name our boy. One day, my hubby came running to say he had found just the perfect name. I was ecstatic and asked him, "What is it?" He said, "Kara," claiming it was unique. I frowned a bit because I'm half Arabic and it means poop or shit in our language. I told him what it meant and he was a bit upset. I confronted him and said that he would still have time to think about it. Well, about 2 weeks later, my husband passed away. I was devastated, naturally, but I had to learn to be strong for my little boy. After the baby was born, I gave him a name which I thought was beautiful and my husband will be proud of me. My father-in-law and mother-in-law invited me over to their house for a little welcome party to their first grandbaby. When I went over to their house, they asked why I didn't name their grandson what my husband wanted him to be named. I was pretty surprised as I didn't know that they knew about the accident. I told them why I didn't name him that. They claimed that my excuse was the unbelievable and that I should respect their dead son's wishes. I was shocked and got pretty hurt. I told them their American was showing and they should respect my heritage and that my hubby will be proud of me. They started yelling again and I just left the house with my baby. The next morning, my phone was filling with texts from them and other family members claiming I was a bad guy for embarrassing them in front of other guests. I'm upset and think maybe I should have just done that in front of other people. So, am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy for telling my stepdaughter to get her act together? My stepdaughter and her daughter moved into a mobile home on our property a couple years ago. She was a single mom with a little toddler, so we offered help. Since then, she has moved in a boyfriend, his daughter, and have had another baby together. They do not pay rent, but there are perks for living here. We're in the Ozarks directly on the free-flowing river that has fish, kayaking, using of new four-wheeler 24/7, that state park at their home, and 80 acres to roam and hunt on. The only bills that they have are electric and internet. We cover the water, garbage, propane. We commonly have get-together where we do a shrimp boil. That usually ends with quite a few tipsy people, and no one wants to watch the pots or colors afterwards. Only one big pot with a basket and 2 colors. Let me add that my stepdaughter, boyfriend, and the children all took part in the shrimp, which was hosted by my husband and myself. We waited for almost 2 weeks and nothing ever got done. The pot of the colors hadn't even been moved. I inquired about what their intentions were and stated that actions speak louder than words. It appeared they didn't appreciate what we do for them and that they are grown adults, both 13 years old. I told both of them that they are grown adults and need to be more responsible and take care of their business. Not everything is going to be handed to them. She came crying to her father, and he caved because she had all of those excuses. I told him that he shouldn't listen to those because they had us watch their infant while they went on a float trip this past Saturday. We did watch the little guy for them and let them have the day. Then my husband sent them a reminder on Sunday morning to take care of the pots since we had paid for another month of their internet. We both thought that they will get to it on Sunday. My conversation where I told them to grow up basically occurred 46 hours after my husband's reminder. Yet they still had not done it or acknowledged his text. So they basically ate the food out of the pot. Then we were offered 113 to watch them and yet refused to. Just basically ignored us. Reminded me of my teenagers, but in this instance, their folks are a few years away from a midlife crisis. How should I feel? Like upset? Taken advantage of? Yep, and yep. I'm not the bad guy for being upset and blunt that they need to grow up. I'm not the bad guy for picking up my daughter's drunk friend. Hello everyone. I'm a bit of a hot water at the minute regarding Kira's parents. So my daughter Kelsey and her best friend Kira have been going out a lot lately and partying, drinking, etc. since Kira has just turned the legal age and she can go to clubs. All well and fun. I made sure my daughter knows that the risk of drinking and going out and she doesn't party too hard. I let her know she can always call me if she needs to, and I will pick them up under my circumstances. The same goes for all of her friends, and I make sure they at least have my contact in their phone. However, her best friend is a different story. I don't think she was even given the talk about what's safe to do, and she regularly overdoses it. I see this when Kelsey brings Kira to my house and she's very drunk. Usually I'll get her a bottle of water, any snacks to sober up, and we send her back home to her parents to deal with the consequences. However, this time my daughter lost Kira in the club. I'm not sure how, usually they're attached by the hip, but my daughter let me know she could not find her. My daughter left the club and came home without Kira. I've told to her about this. Kira called me about half an hour later, saying her battery died but found someone with a charger. Immediately, I left to pick her up. It was quite late and she sobered up somewhere on the drive, so I took her straight home. Today, Kira's parents informed me that they no longer felt comfortable allowing her to be at my house. They did not realize she had my number and felt it was of predatory nature that I, a single dad, was alone with her whilst she had been drinking and took her home. That they didn't know why I was alone with her at all and Kelsey shouldn't have been with us. I explained that my daughter was separated from her and came home. Because she was still drunk, I let her recover at home whilst I dropped their daughter off to them. I reassured them nothing happened and that the most important thing to me was making sure Kira got home safely and was not taken advantage of in a taxi or by someone in a club. They're sending all kinds of messages to my ex-wife about me being a predator, which she sent to me. I just wanted to be sure both girls were home safe. So, am I the bad guy here? Am I the bad guy for using proper terminology to neighborhood kids when answering their questions about my dog? Sorry for being wordy, but to make sure I represent the conversation correctly. I recently bought my first home. My neighbors are a married couple around my age with 4 kids. 3 boys who are somewhere in the third grade, and an older girl, but she was not present in this situation. I've had very limited interaction with them, but we will always greet each other, friendly small talk, but now that they're out of school, the boys are outside a lot and very interested in my pets since they do not have any of their own. One of my dogs, we will call her Pancake, it's a pit bull I recently rescued who had been used for breeding for several years. She's the sweetest girl in the world, but she has very evident sign of physical trauma. She has chronically swollen mammary glands, vaginal prolapse, and hyperplasia, which causes a dark, swollen, oddly sharp. She is now fixed, and I promise she sees a vet regularly to closely monitor those conditions, but she's doing great. Soon after I brought her home, the 3 boys all around wanted to meet her. When we were walking, conversation went something like this. I don't recall which kid asked what exactly. The kid, what's wrong with her? Nothing is wrong with her. This is Pancake, and she is a very good girl and will love for you to pet her. What does her stomach look like that? Well, she came from a situation where people weren't very nice to her, and she was used for breeding for many years. What's breeding? It's when someone forces a girl dog like Pancake to have puppies so they can sell them. It's not always very nice and can sometimes hurt the mom dog. Kate's mom starts to walk over, definitely within earshot. How many puppies did she have? I don't know exactly, but probably 60 or 70. She looks like a cow. I can see. What do you think that? Those are her teats. It's how she feed all of the babies. They're just a little bit larger than you may be used to seeing on the dogs because she had so many babies and wasn't always allowed to her proper time to recover. What's on her butt? Is she pooping? Lots of laughing. No, she's not pooping. That is her vulva. That is where all her puppies came out. It's then cut off by mom. Seriously? These are children. What's wrong with you? Mom calls her boyfriend to go inside. Since this incident, the mom has actively prevented the boys from coming over to see my dog or talk to me, and has completely ignored my extents. I'm not super hurt by this, although Pancake is, but I also don't think I really did anything wrong. That said, I don't have had children. I'm not really close to anyone with children, so I have limited to no experience around them. So am I the bad guy for how I responded to their questions? Is there a more kid-friendly term for vulva I should be aware of in case I'm faced with a similar situation in the future? So I'm waiting for your comments.